You know how to do this one? The three dice are tossed, find the probability of some good. So why? So I go like 6. Oh, so I put like 6. But there's like 3 times 18, right? That's the highest one. 3 sixes. So 3 times 6. Five or less. But how come for sum of 5, right? I could do oh, I just do I have to do 5? No, I only have to do 3 and 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I do it to 5, right?
When what? Oh, so you want me to roll this?
What is this? The inverse of what is this first up called? Find the inverse. Yeah, so but see, check this out. Why is there a permutation?
Yeah, it is. It's because
So for 5, why is there a permutation? Only 3 and 1 through 2.
luckily.
So I can only have to put 2. So here.
I like having the stuff in front of me because well, it'll help.
Yeah, there's only 2 there. So
Oh, no, no, no. We're looking for.
no, so I just do
We have pieces
one,
in class, so it's X. So, but it's one over X is hold on. I so it's
right? Is this it? The 1 times 3 times 2, 18 times 7 times 6. Is I roll 3 dice. 2 dice is 7.
but it's
Well, I mean, is it sound?
if you can, it gets it. It's
That's what I meant.
as because I'm pretty sure this is like easier for this one.
Hello.
So okay, so FX is
Nope, incorrect.
here we go. Then would be okay. So then game mode.
What is H2O6?
I'm pretty sure game mode just means different inputs. This is what I'm talking about. I like understand the problem theoretically, but I don't know how to like go apply it right now.
Okay. So I say that's kind of where I left off from the last time I was making this game. I made
How did
these
you
nice menu buttons
do
that you could.
one line instead of this line?
Player's still messed up, but these nice menu buttons that you could
How did
step
you start
on,
the game?
and it would send a signal throughout the game to let the system know that the player has made a choice on what they want to do.
In there.
Main menu, level select, continue, yes. And now my next goal is going to be to make it so that those main menu buttons aren't there when the game starts, but they are there when the player wins the game. So when you touch each other, those when the other guy actually gets in the game, those buttons should show up. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start initially where the players touch and they actually win the game, and I think that's in the grid script. Under the get pawn, remove, request. Is it the request move? Yeah, under the request move function, I have this event called you win, and what happens?
What is the six for?
I set this flag that says you're the winner and you need to clear. Kind of cheap, a kind of cheap way to keep it so that the UI still stays up there and you don't get multiple triggers of this event. But now I need something. I need to let something else listen to this signal, and that's going to be this is the grid, and this might be my first world script. Yeah, I don't want to put this in the grid. I wanna put it somewhere else. Um, because the grid should only care about doing things dealing with the grid, and I guess technically it is, but I also don't want to like make this grid a really huge function. I want to be able to abstract some of this away. I think a good place for this to be would be in the as attached to the world script, since it's going to be multiple things happening. Since multiple things are going to be happening to this. So I think I'm gonna wanna put it in the world, or because so that the world can attach these tiles, this continue, this level select, and this main menu tile to the grid, instead of the grid doing it for itself. Um, hmm. I, I guess I'm rolling back and forth. Should I just let the grid control that? Because it can. I think it'd be best if the world did that. If like the world, let the world really be the only one to contain instances of these preloaded scenes, and that's how I'm gonna do it if my Godot didn't get stuck on something, which happens occasionally. It just kind of stopped loading there. Whoops. But so while it's going, but basically, if I have the world have those preloaded scripts, it can kind of like help me move or help me communicate with the user interface and the gameplay grid itself. It'll just make that whole process go a lot easier. Uh, um, yeah, and I can load more tiles in there also, so that, and I think that's also where I'll do my level loading in the future. Since my goal today is to have the players be able to go to the main menu, and what's supposed to happen is the whole grid is supposed to clear itself, and those buttons are supposed to appear. I want to start the game off that way. I want to start off with a clear grid and place some buttons or whatever user interface up there, and then once the player hits start, they go to level 1, and what'll happen is that there'll be like a JSON file or some sort of data file that just contains where all of the nodes, what all the nodes are, and where they're located on the grid. Instead of having these pseudo hard-coded values of where they are, I can start to have load different levels, and that help me bridge into making a level select menu or a level editor where the player can choose what levels they want. They'll choose a level, and that level will already be stored somewhere else in another file. There's just the simple data, what node it is and the position of where it would be in the grid, and I then can ask the grid to place those pawns in that position, and I can do some error checking to make sure that I'm not placing the pawns with on top of other pawns, because that's something that I realized the last time I was doing this was that Godot's not working. I'll send a kill signal, and I'll just have the Godot docs open. I'll go look at a preload. Yeah, one of the things that I was noticed from the last time from making the buttons was that I could only have one type of block on a grid space at a time. I couldn't have multiples.
Does this make sense? Yeah, the original
Preload.
specification. You
Yep.
multiply that with the
API differences to GD
model.
script.
Is that what it needs?
And then I'll control it preload. Yep, see there, now it says it's ready. It stopped hanging on itself. Nope, I don't want to exit. I want to go to the world. Been watching a lot of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recently, so I'm now catching up on the tropes on that. Nope, not a new resource, but a new script, a world script. I might later move it to like a level editor script. That's just one above the grid, but uh, for the sake now, I just put it in the world, and the world will just have all of these preloaded these preloaded tiles. I could do the player and the crate and those and all of those. I can have it preloaded, an instance of one of them for each, so that it loads each level. But it makes me think I should just have a level load, and the grid is a part of that instead of having the world have nothing. But the world can have a script. It's no biggie. It wouldn't be very hard. It would not be very difficult to just uh, preload. Oh, start tile. It wouldn't be very hard to have to switch this over to another tile. Put another tile as the parent of this tile. Like just rename this one to level select or whatever, and drag that whole scene over into another base node scene. But start preload, and I want to preload some stuff from the prefabs. That's where
So I
all
need
my stuff should come from.
paste it.
See, it has a level select tile prefab, and also autocorrects for
Green.
my bad English.
But it only shows.
Object, yeah. The continued start tile, continued.
It's showing green.
My names, continue tile,
Well,
and I'll do the same for the other two
two
buttons.
different objects.
Uh, the level select tile.
If I make two different meshes,
Clear my throat there.
and so they both have each, but I
Well,
only like for one mesh send in.
no, did it hang again? No, don't hang. This is no, it's the second time it's hanging. I wonder why it's hanging. It might be because of all the unexpected errors, but I'll send that signal again and go back to
So
looking
errors.
at the docs. So write a note for later. Godot hang twice. I know I can write some pseudocode. I'm looking for the preload name. It's there we go. Mm, Preload. I know it's part of like the OS. So like the not the OG, but like the global, the globalness. I can actually probably look it up on Godot. While Godot's trying to figure out, well, I can't because Godot's hanging. Ah, sadness. So I'll type in OS. Oh, look, you're ready. Cancel. I was still writing stuff. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe I typed too fast. Maybe that's it. Maybe I should use autocomplete more. I'm looking for a prefab. Continue tile, level select tile, bar, and main menu tile. Those are the tiles we have. Prefab. And we'll do main menu tile. There we go. Yeah. So what I'll do is these tiles are already prefabs. I'll go ahead and delete them from here from the main scene. I'll listen to the UN, and then I'll just load them in the correct positions, which I forgot where they were, so I'm gonna put it back, and then put it back on top. So I remember they're actually dominant on the right side. This side is technically empty, and I fill it in when they get added to the scene. So yeah, and that's part of their that's a part of their original scripts. So I had to remember that. I should put that in code. I should probably put that as a note, honestly, to remember that. But I can see that this one's at. So continue. Level select in main menu. Make a note of where they're at. I keep trying to use my pen and I get closer to the screen when I do that, but I can use my mouse to show you guys. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 in the X direction. And then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 5 is where that one's at, which means the level select is just 2 over, so that's 8, 5. And then 10, 5. Easy day. Cool. So now I can get rid of them. Delete. Or let's say, were they a little bit lower? Was I hiding that hole this whole time? I think I was. Say, yeah, that's fine. If not, I'll move them down to 6-6, 8-6, and to 10-6 if I really need to. But I'm gonna be clearing the grid anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's go ahead and listen to the. Let's see. Yeah, let me grab this one, and I'll just listen to the UN. Control C. Um, where's that world? The world. There. I know it's called UN, and it's not connect. It's globals.connect. Nope, global events dot connect. Let's see if I type it in now. UN. And I'll make this function called on UN. Takes in nothing. Pass. So it's not angry at me. On UN. This function that I just put in there. Yeah. Ooh. let's see. I probably need to add a function to my grid, but to actually add these in the correct spots. But for now, just so I can just to expose that functionality for when I'm actually loading
What's
levels,
your face like?
um,
I don't
I'll
even
write
know
most
what
of it
your
right
face is.
here. So just
Sometimes, like the lines.
load the continue
So I think
continue the level
so. What
select
is the
and
first point
main
in
menu
your
buttons.
face
So now that I have them
normalization
preloaded, I can
normalization?
instance them and add them as a
First point
child to the grid.
would be one.
And
The vertice at one,
I think I'll
and
do
then
them
add
one
that
at a
vertice
time.
to
Just
the face normal.
Okay, to get the second point.
continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So isn't that kind of just like the vertex normal?
Or I guess I don't. I preloaded them
Oh,
right there
yeah.
above everything. I
Yeah,
should be able to just
so
add it as a
oh, so
child
so you're basically just
instead of like
drawing
load. I'm.
the vertex
It's been a
normal,
while.
but that is why it's not drawing.
It's been a while since I used preload.
Yeah.
So for the
Well, for the vertex normals, I add the average above the face
yeah.
normal.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, well it's
uh,
important you're adding the face normal. Okay.
Wait,
Visual
or do I
Script
have it
preload.
backwards?
Okay, maybe it's not on this page
To
at all.
calculate the face normal, it's
PPP
the average above the face normal.
Yeah,
SPI.
no,
Hmm.
you're absolutely correct. The vertex normal is the average of any face normal
Okay.
at vertices.
Add a or just want to make sure I'm doing this
So,
right.
but
Add
it's
a
weird because so when if I do this
scene
and I calculate it,
as a
wouldn't it just be the face
child.
normal and the vertex normal?
Had I once
Yeah,
been a
I
child.
never cleared that.
No, add multiple node at once.
Push it
Yeah,
back.
instance of scene. Man, I probably should have went to just instancing on Godot Docs because I'm pretty sure it explains it quite well there in instance.
Isn't that weird?
It is pretty weird because like
Custom
you can
API
draw it
differences, GD
normally, but
scripts.
you might be drawing. I think you might be right
Mesh
when you say
distance.
you're drawing more.
Let's.
Yeah.
I think this is. What is this? GD
Is
script.
that what it's supposed to be?
A script implementation in GD script programming language. What am I looking at? GD script.
Just like
My
that.
class load instance dot new, and then they do an assert. Instance dot get
Okay.
script equals my
Wouldn't that
class.
be face normal?
That's some good error checking.
Yeah, those are
Let's check.
vertex normals, but it doesn't look like they're centered.
You know what? Godot instance of scene. Google is always your best friend.
Like
Instance of
no,
scene.
those wouldn't be vertex.
There we go. I knew it was somewhere on the Godot docs. Like it's
So there are too many of them,
fairly simple.
aren't there?
Yeah, yeah.
Get tree.
Huh.
It's like
Notifications, overrideable functions, creating nodes. S equals as new sprite. I want something similar to that. Instancing scenes. So they do load. I can do preload. See, preloading can be more convenient and happens at parse time. But a scene is not yet a node. It's a pack. I have to call. It's a packed scene, so I have to dot instance it. Node and then add child.
thanks for helping me here.
Yeah.
Hmm. I wonder if I
Sorry, I
can
don't
do that
understand the
all
math too
in
well, but
one
that's what
line.
So so like
Add
the
child.
first point
I'm gonna
in
try,
your
and if it doesn't break, we're good
array
to go.
or
Otherwise, I have to do it their way. So
should be
we'll say
the center of the triangle.
I'm gonna grab the grid.
So you've got
Uh,
a face normal, and it looks like you're calculating a face normal, right? And then the second point is like what we talked
Add
about
child.
before,
The
where
node
you're
is
just
gonna
like
be
adding something along those lines.
continue
The center
child
here is where you want the
dot
face normal to be.
instance.
And that calculation is pretty easy.
Yeah, it's just the average.
Yeah, it's just the average of the underlying
We're gonna check if this works. I think it does. And
well, it's not.
so now when
Yeah,
I
it's
go
the
to
center of the
win,
triangle.
it's just gonna place it somewhere randomly on the screen.
Oh,
Yep,
Does
and
that
it
help?
did.
Does that make sense?
kind of.
Cool. So instead of using grid.add
I did try
child,
to.
Okay, what
Oh,
am I?
we will
so
we will
this
ask the grid if it can add a pawn.
what that
So I have get pawn, getting pawns, and growing them, updating the position of a pawn. Let's make a function
So I have to
to
divide all
add a
this.
new pawn to the scene.
So you have like
Function. So
one,
add a pawn, and it's gonna take in a pawn,
and then
and it's gonna take in a position or grid position. Grid
now we get
position
center X.
must
Oh,
pass.
and I have to do that one for the X, one for the Y.
Yeah, and then you'll find the center of the
So this will assume that this
So I would.
assumes the pawn is already
If I inserted the X one in that
instanced.
so you could say pawn center Y.
Cool.
I would just say, oh, that helps.
Then I can say
Because I think that's what he's looking for, like displaying
add child
all of that. Does that
pawn,
make sense? Yeah, maybe that could be true.
and then or should I do the position first?
Yeah, of course.
I gotta do some things. Because so that pawn has a type 2.
If you, wow, look at that. I don't know if I would say not noteworthy. If it's
Set
if you're
cell V
It's not on my resume.
the position, which is going to be the grid
The
position,
first one.
Okay, I agree then.
and the tile, which is going to be the pawn dot type instanced, and has a grid type.
Having wonderful
I'm not doing
inspiring
any
feels
checks
so
on that.
special.
Bad on me, but
I don't actually know because I use inspiring.
still gonna be good. Now that I've added the child as a pawn, and I've technically set where it is on the grid, I have to move that. I have to move it over there.
I don't want to have another just inspiring.
And what I think I might do is before all of this, or after I add it as a child, I'll say pawn position is equal to map to world to map, and I'll type in the world position
Yeah, this is a personal thing, but it's
and map to world. There we go.
But when you say it has crafted,
And I'll type in
I would say
the map position, which is that grid position we were talking about earlier.
it feels like it has more of your own.
And let's see if that works. I may have to do this right here, map to world, or update pawn position. No, map to world target plus cell size
How does the last?
divided by 2.
I don't like
No fade.
I like things that seem like they have
Made. Got it.
It works for
And
me.
I go
It's
back
not a big word, but it works.
to the
It's
world.
actually better.
Now I'm gonna make that variable. So instance equals continue tile dot instance with nothing crazy. Instead of grid add child, it'll be grid add pawn. Takes in the pawn itself, so which is the instance, and it takes in where I need it to be, which is going to be a vector 2, 6, 5. Now we're gonna check that out. If I win, it should place it somewhere relative close to where I want it to be. And let's make sure my other guy's in the scene. And it does. Can I go over it and see some stuff in the debug window? And hmm, I don't. I should see some signals of firing, but I don't. Where? Oh, where? Or where did I put it? Do I need to? I don't need to reconnect those signals.
I don't know how to fix it, but I know I have it.
Okay, what's that?
So the player is running into the portal, right? And because we're facing the position of the camera being off
Two,
center
two, two.
from the portal, the it reaches an offset of 0. So it's just hitting the edge of how far it can be.
I'll do the rest of the those guys. And then I have to worry about like getting that message to pop up
I don't know how much
that says, "Hey, you've run over this
I don't
thing."
know how far.
And this is going to be at 8.5. I may have to do some additional logic.
What's like smart settings? Go with
And then
not creative, but elaborate.
oh no, wrong thing.
Methods.
Level select instance
Physical settings.
grid dot add on.
Stuff that's noticeable to the player.
No, once more.
I'm not a huge fan of looking at stuff that players don't see. Like your job.
Main menu.
I mean, I'm gonna go nuts about that. I agree.
이거 프로젝터 어디 있음? 위치가 어디예요?
Oh, I see. Like, I didn't need all that.
프로젝트라는
Oh, wrong tool.
파일이 있어야 된다.
Okay, what is this? Having your phone ring friendly.
There, now they're hard-coded out somewhere else. And I can try to read it in somewhere from somewhere else too.
Having the alerts of calm. Liking your friendliness with what?
What am I missing here?
Downtown, edgy, funky,
Main menu
passive
tile.
aggressive, kicking,
샵
Why
You're right.
is the website?
이거 씹을거리는
Okay. So now I should touch more. I can win the game
Divine.
and my guys show up.
Funky sensation.
Boom.
Sensational's not bad. Okay, let's take sensational.
Okay, let's put some
Breathtaking.
tile
Exceptional.
map
I like exceptional.
grid.
I like exceptional.
Type.
Okay, what else? Don't like missing commas.
Ah, I forgot to set their type. I thought it would keep their type. Prefab. It's better to set it via code, but I also want to check to see if I can set their types here and they just stay that way. A level select tile is level select. Save it. Meh. Meh. Okay. And then main menu tile is main menu.
Junior is capitalized here, right?
And continue tile is continue.
뭐야?
Weird. Now it should. I was setting the type to open, so of course it wasn't saying anything because they're considered open tiles. But now that I've set them to their actual thing, cannot grow tile. Yeah. Oh. Did it? It kind of like offset them, kind of weird, didn't it? It can't grow it because nothing exists there. So I need to make sure that my position is set up correctly. I think that's going to be in my grid. Or I can call instance over here and then do it. Let's see if I do this. Control V.
Two separate clauses, right? Clause one, junior posted, attending.
And then when I add it as a child, those should go away. And I feel like I'm still a little bit off. And maybe that I don't need to have that half size on there. Yeah, it seems to be a little bit off on the half size. But I got rid of the other error with I needed to just move their position over before I put them added them as a child, because when you add things as a child, it instances the scene, which causes this ready function to run. I mean, that's not what we want. Go back to the grid. Yep, it just places them where they need to be, which is great.
Does this sentence make sense? Just the highlighted one.
So now
Is it broken? Is it wrong? Does it make sense?
it put them up there. Maybe I do want that. That was. I just needed them. Lay them down, further down. So what if I said instead, in the main menu, not the main menu, in the world. Yeah, I kind of figured this would happen because my counting is off all the time when it comes to hard-coded values. But I think this is gonna work. You win. Now they're. I guess say the map words. They were fine where they were at. It's just they were too high. And they need to move down in like the X in the Y direction half by half. So let me go back to the grid. And to do that, I just do vector logic because that's the best logic I know. So in the X direction 0, but in the Y direction, move down by the cell size divided by 2. You don't like that? What? No constructor for vector 2 matches the signature of vector 2, an integer, and a vector 2. Oh, this is a vector 2. Whoopsie. Dang it, cell size is a vector 2. Can I use cell width? Is that a thing? Cell half offset. What is that? Is that the thing? Amount of offset. No, I don't need that. I need the cell size, but you know what, I can use cell size y divided by 2. Let me go back.
오.
There we go. That should. I hope that exists. The .y. I might not get access to that. We'll see when I go and win with my friend. You win. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. See? There. Everything works like I want it to work. Let's do it again. Because I like it so much. I may also put the players into the scene now the right way.
아니요, 아니요, 아니요.
Because one of the cool things about Godot is that it builds the levels initially from the children upward, which is really nice. So I can add, to like have the players load in the correct way. I can say I can do it all from code. Player one, preload, which like helps me assure that everything is working the way that I want it to. Preload, player one, or let's do prefab. Object, player. There, and I'll just load two of those. Player 2 is the same thing. A player is a player is a player. There. In the after connecting, I can just load the players in the level. Just that at the beginning, then they get added to the grid. Grid dot add pawn. And I'll do player 1. Oh yeah, and I see. I'm also gonna need to do some checking to make sure that you can't place things like on the same tile. Like, and probably some type checking to make sure that it is a pawn. I could do an assert too. That'd be pretty cool. I haven't used that ever, and that seems asserts are really nice for type checking. It'll help me future-proof when I'm making mistakes all over the place to make sure that my types are types I say they are. I'll put them at 0. I'll put it at 1, 1, because you can't place anything at 0, 0. I made.
우리 다 필요한데. 그러면 다른 방법은 visual studio code line.
Alright, I'll make another function for it. Separate them. So add players takes in nothing. It looks very similar to what we have up there. I'll do player one dot instance, but then I can in the future I can add more stuff. Add pawn
아, 그리고
instance and vector 2.
Oh, so this is
One.
the same thing. 437 line.
그러면
Player chooses last 4
그냥 이거
numbers 437.
Equals player 2 dot instance.
How do you solve this one?
No, no, you didn't. Why do you expect another parenthesis? Took a second for it to catch up. IntelliSense, always. Instance. Vector 2, and we'll put you at 1, 2 to be safe for now. I know that 1, 2 and 1, 1 are gonna be empty. So,
탑에서는 visual studio
and then I'll just add players.
근데 여기서 하려면 이제 베이스
What's it called?
And we'll see if that works. When I load the game up, they should be both right next to each other at the top left corner. There are some. There are some over there. But they don't need the half tile. Oh, I see. I see. Some things do and some things don't need that half tile. It just depends on where they were actually placed. So like for the continue tile, if you look at it, it is in the direct center, but the player, and I'm using half of it. I'm placing it right here using this half, but the player scene, he's straight in the center and he stays in the center. Yeah. For the most part, he might actually be moving down. Let's actually look at that again. So 1-1 and 1-2. So 1-1 supposed to be there, and he needs to be a little bit over more. And 1-2, the same. So I'm gonna actually check on that half tile offset to see if it's pushing them in the wrong direction, and if I need to have like a clause like, hey, if it's a button, which is going to be 2x8, or if it's going to be in a different tile, or I can make an offset actually. I can just make an offset, and then just use that offset and control it from there. Level select.
Wait, so is it saying
No, I'm like over here. I need to look at the scripts.
or is it just one to see
Grid. So if I don't have this, are they going to be placed in the correct place? Or am I just all wrong? Those players need both, I think.
So
I think both of those players need this. Control C. Control V.
so it's just one player.
Yeah, this looks like this is gonna get an offset. Yep, it's just gonna get an offset. And it and I have 4 players in the game now. Look at this. Boop. And I yep. I know that's happening too. Like I'm not setting those players. They're not they're on top of each other. Players can be on the same player can be on top of each other. Just yeah, push those blocks. Teamwork. Okay. So Selena's over. Oh man. Oh man. The player. So the players need the whole cell size, whereas the UI only needs half of the cell size. I'm just gonna put an offset, and by default, it's gonna be equal to a vector 2 dot 0. Like that just makes it easy. There's no offset. And then what I'll do for this, it's just in plus offset. Plus offset. There. So now when I go back to the world, I can add an offset, which is going to be grid dot cell size. I think I can call that from here, divided by 2 for both of those guys. Control C, Control V. And it places him in the correct position. Now for the buttons, since I have those in the center, I'm actually going to like now I'm thinking I could have done like kind of sort of done a generic button, but that's just getting too far away from what I want. A vector 2 0, the grid dot cell size
What rule are we using?
dot y divided by 2, and copy that to the rest. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, now if my error is wrong, it'll be wrong for all of them. Let's go win the game. uh,
there's only two
they're in
combinations.
the right spot,
Don't you think?
and they still work. Oh, as intended. But now I gotta do some extra stuff with these players before I add them as a pawn. Like I instance them. I gotta like set up their variables, like their type.
This three
Int
doesn't.
dot type
So
equals.
it's given the sum of s dot five.
Uh, the types aren't
Oh,
global.
okay, now that makes sense. So that's one for.
So do you want those types too? Here you go.
That's all. One
You get these two. Shared enum. If I share it with one more, if I share this enum type with one more script, it's gonna be global because it's probably it is something that I've been using quite a bit across like all of the scripts. And the more scripts I add, the more I realize I need this information. So, Control V. Everyone gets a tile type, and that's a third script that I'm gonna have to make sure. Yeah, it's a third script that I'm gonna have to maintain and make sure that it has all the same tile types. It's probably best if I put the tile types in the globals, so I can only have to update them in one place.
Let's see if you use factory has at least 4 times many computers as factories.
But I don't want to go back and change all my code right now, since I only have like less than 15 minutes. But I'll definitely make a note of that for next time, and probably that'll be like the first thing that I do, honestly. Tile type.
Probability that computer is produced by factory device.
아직 안 끝났네.
Right now, it's in 3. I'm just making a note for myself later, just in case. Alright, back to what I was doing. Everybody has a tile type. I need to make sure that your type is
Four times the probability.
player.
Okay. So
And I forgot I gave, or
does more C.
it goes tile type
So all I have to do is 4
dot
times 0.
player.
4 times.
Wow. So you're a player, and I gave the players another variable called ID. That ID equals either player 1 or player 2. No, I think I can set it this way unless it's. I'm pretty sure I set it up so that it's just 1 and 2. If I go to the player scene. Oh, I'm in the player. I'm not in the player scene. I'm in the player scene. Player ID. ID is 1. I'll say I bet. Oh no, it's right here. 1 or 2. Let's make sure that it starts with 1 and 2, so I don't have to share that. Also, they can just be an intuitive 1 or 2 or however many I decide to add. To type in the ID, and I do the same thing for player 2. And then I'll change the color to Control V. And now let's get rid of the players in the actual.
But I don't know how many Z.
I'm getting closer to like being able to make a level, like have an actual level editor, like load levels from data, which is gonna be I'm super excited about. 2 players, player controller one controls one, controller two controls the other. Yeah, and now I can go and change, and they can't, and they win, and you win when you hit them.
Oh,
And you,
weird.
oh, I gotta go set their Z. That's another important thing. There's probably more things I should be setting with those guys, but I'll as I find them, I will know to change them. It's
So
called
that's total all comes to 0 to 4.
Z index, and I
Total positive.
Z index, and I need to set Z as relative to false because I want absolute control over that.
Do I just divide it by 4?
Yeah, there shouldn't be too many. I should be able to keep track of my Z index instance dot. It's right here.
Oh, so I just divide it by the
Z
4
underscore
times
index,
infinity.
Z
And
underscore
you get 2.
index, and I do believe I set them at 2 because the the UI is set at 1, and instance dot
But I should try to fix this next time.
Z as relative. Control C, Control V, yeah.
No, it's usually.
Okay, now when they touch each other, they should appear above the buttons. Let's go check my other player too. Okay, now that's left is to change their modulate color, their color.
4 times
Oh, I might be able to do words for this, which is going to be amazing because color takes words, and I'm a big fan of using words. It uh, helps me like have document less or have to comment less. Yeah, and I can just they have like a bunch of different colors to choose from, which is like great. So say let's go back to the world. Instance dot modulate equals a color, and I can choose words. So like red.
That's why I was saying.
See, I had them in not red. Red isn't a color. Invalid color code red. Nah. What? Red better be in here somewhere. R. Red is a color. I'm probably just using it wrong.
So I'm gonna tell my friend and then see if he can help me.
I'm just probably using it wrong. Let's look at that. How colors get instanced again. So string
I'm gonna tell him too
from
before I go home study.
blue should be a color
Yeah,
too.
I'll have class.
Does it have to be like capitalized?
For your class.
What about color in? Is it color in? Ah, it is color in. Or it's going to. I'm going to try it out. Yes. And I had a green one and a blue one. And then I'm going to go back and look at those colors later to get the colors that I actually want. Or better colors. Since I can go play around with that. Green and blue. Let's run this. There we go. Okay. Cool. I have 5 minutes. Let's do some error checking on grid because I want to make sure that the position that I'm using isn't already occupied. Otherwise, it can just skip all this. We don't. So, check if grid position is occupied. Oh, do nothing if it's occupied. Oh, Control Z. There we go. Print error if grid position is occupied, and it'll look something like if grid position, or I need to get cell V, and we need to pass to the position, grid position. If the grid position is, well, if it's equal to open, to tile type open, then we're free, home free, do all this stuff.
그
Tap, there.
공부만 하는데
Else,
아이디어를
I'm gonna print out a message.
얘또 한참 걸리는데?
Could not place pawn. I get the pawn, so I could say
As soon as
pawn,
I said he came that up, but then I found out that like
and then
Visual
I'll type in the
Studio
pawn
doesn't
name.
save your settings, so I did the dot PDP to submit it.
Oh, okay.
And I put in
Could not place
I
pawn
tried to
name
download it clean and then open it, it's not gonna work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if
at,
I mean, mine was.
and then the grid position. Grid position as a string, because it's a vector, and for
if I
some
zip it up
reason,
in this, it won't
Godot
it's not even
requires you to concatenate strings together, and it doesn't automatically cast them together.
No,
String,
I use
if
it
I can
for
spell right. String.
I have no idea.
Okay, and to test that, I'll try to put
just
the
put it in
player on
feature
top of the
settings.
player and see what happens.
I don't know. It's another bug, I suppose. Yeah, we'll follow the instructions.
I probably should make it like assert or something, but
So
or make it crash.
yeah, so I'm drawing the turtle.
But instead, I'll just do nothing with it, and you'll get nothing back from it. Could not place player mangled name. Or
I
it'd be great if I set their name.
what the syntax is for that. Paul, I don't know if it's one of those.
Also instance name. So after we instance it,
Like the count
instance
how
dot
many there are, like how many
name
players
equals
or is how many players.
player 2.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Control C.
Well, you can explain to me that you're doing this.
B player 1. I may not do it for the rest of the stuff, but player 1 and player 2 are pretty significant.
Can you render like a triangle, like just a triangle?
There. Cannot place pawn player
Like
2
in the code you define
at.
that?
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then hey, a few seconds left.
넘어간 거 맞아요?
And then
약간
keep
계속
it.
봤는데 아까 막 이렇게 하고
Yes.
There it is.
Yeah, could not place player 2 at that. Great job.
Oh, okay. I see.
I'll do like that, just to be fancy. No other reason. Building, and it says could not place pawn player 2 at
Yeah, no,
grid position dot sure.
Huh.
that would be the face thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's in the board, so that's the fake thing. Yeah, so you're doing that right.
Error
oh, that's
messages
perfect.
are
Is
amazing.
that actually it?
Help me debug grid position there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Face one will never draw.
Very cool.
Yes. Maybe because like the way I have it set up now.
And now I have a function that allows me to place things inside of my world, and I don't have to like hard code it like I've been doing
Oh,
before.
maybe.
Like what you see up
Actually,
here, I don't have to check my children anymore. I shouldn't.
this place
I'll
to
keep
do
it
that.
for
This
now. This
one
helps me
has
get rid of
double
this.
dimension. Double dimension.
I
It
should
has
now be
also
able to
vertex
programmatically, in
plus
another file,
vertex plus.
add them. It'll look something
And
like
then you
this
do all of
when
that.
it's in a
That's
JSON
double
file, just
double
so like,
dimension.
Yeah, yeah. So then the one across
you
the
know,
top won't be fixed
probably
until
expose like the
after.
name of the player, so like people can put in their name and have it like show up above their player. I think that'll be a pretty cool thing.
I hope it
Uh,
kind of like just
extra stuff, but
continues on.
my hour's up,
Yeah, I mean,
and
no, that makes sense.
I think. Oh,
So,
I gotta move the player somewhere else. Player two. Player two. We're gonna move you to 3, 4. I don't think there's anything there.
Oh, it's right
3,
here.
4 is open.
Two ties.
There we go. Yeah. And it plays like. Oh, it does not. Ah, I'm glad I added that. Now it won't let me. I have to clear and then place those things. I'll get a few minutes. Or there. I feel like that's just swapping the order of my code. That shouldn't take very long. That's on the UN, which is inside of the request remove. And so on upon winning, player,
아니 그러니까
main
서버가
menu,
서버의 기능은 안 하고 있어요.
get player.
그러니까
There.
아까 말씀드린 서버에서
Oh yeah, otherwise it
그거를
like keeps
보인다고
blinking
했잖아요.
forever.
깜짝 놀랐어. 서버에서 그 컴페어리슨 실제로 그걸 한다고 했잖아요. 그냥 네트워크는 진행이 돼
So,
있고
well, I'll just switch the order that these are happening in, Control X. And I'll clear the screen first, and then I'll emit the signal.
I think it's doing both of them. That's what I'm
And I'll emit the signal.
saying.
왜냐면
Let's see what happens now.
I just want to immediately help it.
Broken. I broke it.
무거운 거를 막
Do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can explain that. But
그러니까 결국에는 개념이
I really broke it.
단순히 파일들만 갖다가 여는 게 아니라
I
인터넷에
start
열려
with
있는 거대한 인터넷 세계.
I must be doing something crazy in there. I'll go fix that another time. Control. I'll just do Control Z. That never happened.
아니 그러니까 여러 명이 쓸 필요가 있는 거예요. 이게 여러
음.
명이 쓸 필요가 있는 프로그램이에요.
And I'll figure out what's broken in my in my clear another day.
연습된 선생님.
My goal was to have the player make it to the main menu, and I've pretty much set myself up to do that now. Now that I can load in my buttons wherever. Now I just need to be able to clear the screen. Like that's my next goal. If I can clear the screen after they win again, then we're good. So, like the goal's the same. I just need to clear the screen.
하지만
Then place
선생님들이
buttons.
그 이거를 할 때 다 다운받아서
But
하니까
thank you for those who are still watching.
파일이랑
I appreciate and love all your guys' support. And I'll be doing this at the same time tomorrow if you want to check it out. Yeah. Until then, see you later. Have a good night.